What's up guys, welcome back to another video. On our Drift R31. So we are still cranking along with some progress in this car, which is awesome after so long of talking about it and not being able to get to it. So you would have seen the last episode, we did the rear end setup. So we did the diff and the coilovers and everything in the rear end, so it's pretty much set up, ready to go. So now we're going to continue with the rest of the car around that. So this episode, we're going to be looking at fuel system. So the fuel tank that was in this Pintara is the fuel tank that I actually stole from my 31 when I rebuilt it. So when Luke bought my 31 off me and used that running gear for his EH, he actually used that fuel tank and the fuel lines and everything. So when I had this car as a parts car, that's one of the first things I pulled out of it was the fuel tank and everything to use for mine. So rather than chase down another R31 fuel tank, we've actually got a fuel cell here. So we decided to just put a cell and surge setup in this car, keep things nice and simple and easy. So we've got here, I don't even know what brand it is, I bought it off a friend of mine, pretty cheap.
It is written on the top there at your end, Speedmaster or something?
Speedmaster, there we go. We've got a Speedmaster fuel cell here. I've measured it up, it's around 40 litres, just over 40 litres. But yeah, we've got our 2-8 fittings there. So we've got a fuel cell there to go in. We've also got this here, just a little surge tank, 2 litre surge, which will do the trick. We've got 2 Bosch 044s, we're only going to need one of them. I had the 2 of them set out because that originally when all this fuel system was going to go on my Crusader, which was going to be turboed and on E85, I was going to go to twin pumps. But in reality, actually this fuel cell would be very, very small for E85 setup for a turbo LS. So much better actual use in this car on pump fuel. Or pump 98 I should say. But anyway, so that's the plan for the fuel system. I've got up in a box up there somewhere, I've got a Aeroflow red carby pump, which would be perfect for a lift pump. So that'll be from the cell to the surge. And we'll have an 044 from the surge. We've got a filter reg. Rex has got one lying around somewhere which we're going to use. It's massive, massive fuel pressure, but it doesn't really bother us. We'll just tune it, so it's not a big deal. So that's pretty much how it's going to work. It's just going to be a cell into a surge with the carby pump, from the surge into a Bosch 044 through the filter reg, which is going to run at deadhead. So we're going to run the return from the reg in the boot straight back into the cell, and just a single -6 line up to the front of the car for the fuel feed. So quite a simple fuel setup, nice and cheap and reliable. There's not a lot that can go wrong. Most of it's retained in the boot, which you know is ultimate for drifting. So we'll get into how we're actually going to fit this thing up. I'll get the fuel cell in there and have a look at how it's going to fit, where we're going to have to cut and what we're going to have to do. Alrighty, so this is what we've conjured up. It's always the decision making process of this sort of thing that takes ages. But pretty sure I've come to a conclusion of what I want to do. So we've got our cell in here. I've tried to put the cell sort of in the middle, just because my OCD would wig out if it was to the side. Also, it's like a lot of weight to have to one side, so center it is. So we're going to go out of the surge into our carby pump, which is our lift pump. Cell I should say, into the surge, which then goes into the 044, and then this here is our filter reg, so it's a filter and reg all in one. So it'll return back to the cell and then actually feed back down through this hole and P-clamp up to the center to the bay. So having it set out like this means I've got heaps of room here for my plan for this car is actually to run an electric power steering pump, so probably like an Astra pump or something. So I wanted to make sure there was definitely enough room in the boot to mount that. Not only that, if I have cooling issues with this car, I'm just going to go to a remount rad straight up. I'm not going to dick around with cooling problems, they just annoy me. I want to be able to churn out laps at Archerfield and stuff like that and have this thing sort of remain cool. So it was pretty important for me to make sure that I've got enough room here to actually get like a decent sized radiator down in here if I want to, for when I want to go to remount rad. I don't want to have to change all of this around when I go to remount radiator, because it is something that's on my radar. So that's what we're working with. At this stage, like these 2 fittings actually drop down in the cell. At the moment I'm in 2 minds whether I want to cut this part of the boot out so they drop down, or whether to actually mount these up on some box, or what I'm going to do. So it's about the only decision we have left to make, and then we can start mounting shit up. I reckon cut the boot, we'll mount them up. Alright guys, so we've got this pretty much sorted. All of these smaller things, the pumps and the reg and the surge, are actually nut certed into the floor. So that's just a simple M6 nut cert, super simple, super easy. The surge is actually just going to be bolted through the floor with M8 stainless, for which we're not actually going to bolt yet because it's just easy to get at the pump and the reg at the back without the surge in there. So we're going to wait until we've built our lines and done everything before we actually mount the surge, the cell in, sorry. Sorry guys, I do keep calling it a surge. It's a cell. I don't know, my brain. It's just too many surge cells, pumps, fuel stuff. Anyway, as you can see, it's pretty simple, easily serviceable, and like I said, room for future upgrades that I'm thinking about. But yeah, this should be a very nice and easy fuel system for which we should never, ever, ever have any surge issues. And 40 litres should be decent enough to do, you know, maybe 2 sets of tyres to a set of tank of fuel ish. I don't know. You know, the stock tanks are only 60 litres anyway, so.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, like the stock tank's only 60 litres in these, so 40 litre cell should be enough to party.
And what's that surge about? Will that be 1.5 litres or so?
Yeah, maybe 2. I have to measure it up, but
100 by 100 by
150 maybe.
150, so yeah. About 1.5 litres.
Yeah, around there. So yeah, enough fuel to party. It'll be right. It's only a dedicated drift car, so
yeah,
she be right.
Should kill tyres before it kills you.
Exactly. So as long as I chuck some fuel in every time I change tyres, everything will be gravy. So anyway, you know, more moving along. So we'll go have some dinner and then we'll come up and see what we can actually do as far as fittings and lines and what we've got and what we need to order. Keep going with this fuel system. Gravy, baby. Alright, so we've dug out a big box of AN crap. Hopefully somewhere in here we can find enough fittings to piece together this fuel system somewhat. And whatever we can't get, we know we have to order, which is good. So we'll make that order on Monday. So it's going to be a whole lot of boring just sorting through AN fittings trying to get this stuff to work. Alrighty guys, it has taken like a few hours, but we somewhat have a fuel system sorted out of just trash. Just stuff we had in a bucket. So we have our dash 10 out of the cell, feeds into this atrocity of a dash 10 to dash 8 to 3.8 into our carby pump, and then our 3.8 to dash 6, which feeds the surge. We've got a dash 6 return from the surge into the cell. We've also got a dash 8 feed from the surge into the pump, which is just barbed, which is okay because it's still low pressure at that point. Then we've got our little check valve into dash 6, which is our feed line to our reg filter, and then the return from the reg filter is also dash 6 braid back to the surge. And then obviously off the front of the surge filter, I've got this torch over here, you can see we have another dash 6 cutter fitting ready to go, which will then be braided dash 6 to our hard line. So we've actually managed to completely plumb this out of just stuff we had lying around, which is crazy. We're actually just talking like, there is every single brand of fitting that you could imagine. One of them is in this. Everything is different. It is insane. It's probably, honestly, if you had to build this fuel system from scratch, by the time you got to like the front of the car to the rails, it's probably like a good $2,000 of fittings, and we've just done it out of stuff we had in a bucket. And you know, you never realize how much stuff you got in a bucket of crap until you start going through it and doing this stuff. So yeah, worked out alright. Still got a few things we've got to buy. The crush fittings for the actual hardline we've got to buy still, and there's a few fittings for up at the rail, or up at the engine end that we have to buy as well. I've got somewhat of the rail sorted. I've been sorting that out in the engine room, but for the most part this is sorted. We do have hardline here. We might do that in the morning, fit this hardline up. So this is our hardline, and Aeroflow actually make like a crush type fitting which actually goes under the hardline, which is really handy. So we do have to buy 2 of those, but apart from that, pretty much everything we've got is stuff we've already had.
There's 2 90-degree dash 10 push locks, which I don't think we need anymore.
No, we needed the line more than the push locks.
But
dash 6 cutters?
Dash 6 braided.
Are they cutter fittings though, or are they the...
It should be olive.
You're in olives?
Yep.
Alright.
So 2 straights, right there.
Alright, well that might work. That might work. We were just talking about we might have to buy some dash 6 olive or cutter straight fittings just to actually do the braided lines between the hard lines and the rail. But yeah, we're trying our best. Like, it started off as just we'll see what we got and we'll order what we can. and it's turned into, it's more fun to just make it work out of what we've got.
It's a competition.
Yeah.
We have to order nothing.
Literally, we'd be 10 times better off just ordering what we need and building this fuel system properly. But now we're like, we want to build it out of trash. So now we've got like 1,000,001 joins, where we've got 1,000,001 more potential for leaks than we need. But hey, we didn't have to pay for it, so here we go.
So pretty sure. See, I could use one of their hand spinners to undo that, but I won't.
You probably could. That's what we bought them for. We paid a lot of money for those. Anyway, we're going to continue on with this. It is just a slow process going through trash, trying to make trash work with other trash. So anyway, we'll check in with the morning, see how we got on, and we'll probably fit the hard line in the morning as well. But it'd be good to get this fuel system sorted tomorrow. So tomorrow's Saturday. We sort of allocated a fair bit of time to get this car sorted. So the last video you watched of the rear end's getting sorted, and now this fuel system. And I would like to try and get the wiring loom in it as well.
Whoa.
So that's what we set for this.
These fittings are ancient.
Ancient?
Ancient. They're nothing. Yeah, I'm just going to do this back up.
Okay. We'll let sleeping dogs lie.
These came off the original fuel system on. Oh wait, your fuel rail of your R31. It ended up.
I don't know.
Me. Yeah, no.
Either way, so yeah, we allocated a fair bit of time. These past 2 or 3 days. 3 days tomorrow, we've allocated to this car to get it sorted. And we made some good progress. I'm pretty happy with the progress, but obviously by Monday we've got to go back to actual work because we've got, actual work just piling up around us. So yeah, it'd be nice to get this fuel system sorted and the wiring loom in tomorrow, but we'll see how we go. We'll check in then, and we'll keep going off into the darkness. Righto guys, we're back out here this morning, just continuing on with this fuel system. So we sort of decided, we thought about it last night, we're just gonna run hardline all the way to this this filter reg, because it is soft line on the back and it's only held down by 1 bolt. So if in the off chance you do need to maneuver it to get the hard line on, it's very easy to unscrew and just move around. I did sort out this little breather setup, so that's just gonna sit up a bit higher, which will eliminate the potential for sloshing fuel to actually come out of the breather. I was gonna try and route the breather all the way out to the other side, but I don't think it's particularly necessary, honestly. I think it should be fine. This is our Aeroflow hardline -6, a 3/8 hardline, which should be plenty for what we want to do with this car. As an aspirated setup, aspirated on pump fuel, it should be plenty of fuel line. Worked out that by the time this this entire fuel system set up, boot, all of those fittings, the cell, the surge, everything in the boot was all pretty much stuff we already had lying around. So by the time even this hard line actually was, we ended up getting that for free as well off someone that was not going to use it. So this entire fuel system, by the time we bought the last few fittings we need to get it to the actual fuel rail, cost us 70-something bucks, 76 bucks I think. Plus like the 4 hours of work last night to sit there going through all our trash to try and make it work somehow. But anyway, regardless, we got it done. It's the aim of the game, is this thing is just a beat a drift pig. I actually did test fit a Commodore radiator in this space that I left as well this morning, because I was out here just sticking around trying to figure out radiator, and it does fit perfectly. So the way I've set that out means that in future, if I do decide to go to that rear mount rad setup, I do have the room, which is perfect. So, but anyway, at the moment, we're just trying to keep it simple. As much as I want this car to be dead reliable, I do want it to be fairly simple. So I've chucked, this is the radiator that was in this car, which is a CA radiator. We're pretty sure it's a little bit skinnier than an RB one. Haven't quite confirmed that yet, but I just chucked it in just to test fit up, make sure we're gonna have room for fans and stuff. So just one of these with some AU thermos, but an RB one if I can get one, if it's a bit thicker. We should be right. But anyway, back to the fuel system. We'll run this hard line. Oh, money bags over here, eh?
Kind of fucking backyard operations this.
This is looking way too legit for this car. Alright, I had to go for a quick run into the hardware to get some very important things for drift car build. Tech screws. We were actually running low, so went and got a crap load of them, because good old drift car life, you always use tech screws. Anyway, so while I was gone, Rex continued to bend up this hard line. Beautiful, look at that. Just follow the line of the body. Nice enough out of the way. Beautiful. It makes it just so simple running the deadhead sort of setup with the return in the boot. It's just a single line all the way up. Nice and simple. There are lots of arguments about people thinking what way works better. You know, for what the purpose of this car is though, and for the motor and, you know, combo way running the fuel system, it's got to be plenty to just have the single line. The deadhead system's going to work fine. It's actually what LSs run from factory, so go figure. Righto guys, so you can see where it comes up to in the engine bay there, and then this is the fuel rail that's on my intake manifold. So I've actually got this dash 8 to dash 6 I found last night, so that's going to work with the dash 6 line. So it comes up into the bay somewhere around here. It's just a soft line up to the rail. I've actually got a pressure gauge on the rail as well. Righto guys, so that's the hard line pretty much sorted out. All we've got left to do is, yeah, just those two fittings on each end and our little short bit at the in the bay, but that's essentially the entire fuel system sorted, which is great, except for obviously the wiring, but it's another big leap forward for this car. So that's him there, nice and easy place to get a fitting on. We can sort of just bend the last little bit whichever way we want and have the AN fitting wherever. Straight up to the rail on the manifold.
Done.
Bob's your auntie.
Job's done.
Job done. So guys, in conclusion, what we've got here, we've got ourselves 40 litre cell into an Aeroflow red carby pump, so that's a low pressure, high volume pump to fill the surge. We'll get our surge that feeds an 044, which is a nice, cheap, easy pump to replace, very easy to find, good to have in the car. You know, if something goes wrong, I'll generally have a spare. If not, very easy to get another one. We've got a GM filter reg all in one, so this is actually a filter and a regulator. It's deadhead, so it returns here. So we've got return from the filter reg back into the surge, which keeps the surge full. That way we know the surge is never going to be sort of out of fuel. It is the only other thing, the problem with this is that if you return it from the reg into the cell, it gives the fuel a bit more time to cool. Putting it back into the surge doesn't give it that much time to cool, but this fuel system's not ridiculously over the top. This fuel shouldn't really be getting very hot anyway, it shouldn't be a problem. And then we've got our return from our surge into our cell for when the surge is getting too full. Get our breather, and then hard line up to the front. Very simple, nice and easy. Thank you for watching. Another nice leap forward for this vehicle. Like I sort of said, once we get into this thing, it's going to start coming together very quick, which it very much is doing. So thank you for watching as always. Please go and buy a shirt if you'd like to support the channel. It's the best way you can do it. I'll leave a link to the store down in the description where you can go buy shirts, stickers, anything you want to buy. All of those funds sort of go towards being able to do things like this. So thanks for watching. Smash like, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Hope you're enjoying the build, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace out, catch you, bye.